Hi, and welcome to THORsday Comics. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, both of which are available for pre-order by following the pre-order link in the show notes below. I Am Stan is coming out in hardcover and softcover, and Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics is going to be coming out in a new softcover edition. So pre-order both of those by following the links in the show notes below. We already did the main story for Journey into Mystery with Thor number 117. This time we're doing the Tales of Asgard backup, and this is a really big one. This is, when you're talking about lore, this is a big one. The Sword in the Scabbard, beginning one of the greatest sagas of all time by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, inking Vince Colletta, lettering Artie Simek. There's no hyperbole here. This is an epic. It's one of the big sagas of comics, and it's establishing a lot of things that play out as the series goes on, that play out even to this day in modern Thor issues. I'm assuming Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, both of them, one of them, had just seen Jason and the Argonauts maybe playing on TV in the afternoon or whatever. This is the result. So, this is like one of those great seafaring adventure epics, and this is where it begins. And a lot of these like sort of pirate stories, or the story of Jason and the Argonauts, or the Golden Fleece or whatever, they usually start, especially the cinematic versions, start with a scene like this, where it's like the young men of the kingdom are just restless. They have all this built up energy and nothing to use it on, and so they just sort of turn against each other. So yeah, there's like a giant barroom brawl going on. Odin sees this. "Warriors of Asgard, defenders of the Rainbow Bridge, is this what you have come to? Let the fighting cease, I do command." And now Odin is pissed, and he's going to come up with a quest for the young men of his kingdom, including his two sons, who are most likely at the core of this. Their sort of personal enmity is being worked out on a larger scale. And I like that in the past couple issues we've kind of established that Thor has his magical hammer and Loki has his magical sword, and so when they do battle, when they have their little duels, this is what they're going to be, what they're armed with. We get a great close-up of Odin. This is a composition Jack Kirby uses again and again, and he has this like he had this giant drawing of Moses that he did that was hanging in his studio, that was like a similar composition to this sort of intense, all-powerful, bearded patriarch. And Odin breaks them up, and Odin has a quest for them. He has an important mission. It has a real point to it. That's just part and parcel of the genre. But my suspicion is that, if you were to do like a modern re-examination of this story, that this whole quest that Odin sends them on, was probably just a bunch of like bullshit that he made up, just to give these restless young men who need some sort of purpose, need some sort of focus, for their aggression, that he just sort of came up with it just to kind of give them something to do, get them out of there, get them to sort of get rid of some of their energy, and then come back to society and be able to become productive members of the society. But in any event, the thing that he shows them the oversword of Odin, sometimes referred to as the Odin sword. According to legend, if ever it leaves its sheath, the end of the universe will be at hand. Stan. Now that's my personal introduction to the Thor comics, was the oversized treasury edition of the story of the Mangog, and how the Mangog was going to usher in Ragnarok by taking the Odin sword from its sheath. And that's, several issues later that takes place. And that was my introduction. So it kind of begins here. That seed that's planted kind of gets, paid off many issues later. And again in the series, even after Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's departure from the series. It's a great visual, the way Jack draws it. And Odin explains that he's found a crack in the Odin sword. This is the work of some powerful evil force. Who could have damaged the great oversword, and why? A force so strange, so totally alien that even I cannot comprehend its power or purpose. And so this is the job that Odin gives to Thor and Loki. Thus I order the two of you on an expedition, find our unknown enemy, and then destroy him. You dare not fail, for if you do, the crack in the oversword may grow larger and a universe will perish. Next issue, you will witness the spellbinding start of the quest for adventure fantasy at its greatest. Don't miss Thor number 118. And for the love of Asgard, keep your oversword sheathed. Great double entendre there. Part 1 of a multi-part epic. Great use for the 5 pages that you get in a Tales of Asgard backup. You know, why not make it into like a big, long, ongoing serial? The epicness, the grandeur of the Marvel Universe is just growing and growing, and specifically the Thor corner of it, which lends itself really well to it, to that kind of expansion, especially since there is an original text. There is a body of work that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee can refer back to, you know, to give their mythology an understructure, the actual Norse Eddas. You know, a really, really helpful thing to have if you're on, you know, like a monthly comic book deadline. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee. You can pre-order both those books by following the link in the show notes below. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the Total Recall Show channel on YouTube, and I'll see you next Thursday.